Hello and welcome to Outright. So, the Iowa caucus is over and it ended with Trump's landslide victory. He crushed all of his rivals last night, and Ramaswamy has even dropped out of the race and he is now fully endorsing Donald Trump. And that means that the possibility that 2.0 Trump 2.0 is going to happen is really high. The chances are really high, and that is what has made EU, Europe very jittery because the war in Ukraine is still going on, and EU is worried that if Trump comes back to power, what will happen to their security. Now look at this report by NY Post. They have cited a German newspaper which claims that Germany is preparing for Russia to start World War III. This report implies that Putin is going to take advantage of the transition period in US and is going to expand his war in Ukraine that could even reach NATO countries. Now in the next part of the video, we will study that Russia's alleged leaked war plan in detail and will try to know how EU will react to that. First of all, uh, this is the plan. Russia could mobilize additional 200,000 soldiers in February of this year. And after that, in the following months, Russia could expand its war in NATO countries as well. This is the plan. This is the alleged plan of Russia for the coming year. And this looks really scary. If I am from Europe, this looks really scary. And it becomes scarier if you consider that Trump is coming to White House in the next year. So let's look at the plan now. First of all, in February of this year, Russia could call up additional 200,000 more troops on the front lines. And after that, it could expand its war in Ukraine in spring. So, spring is around March, April, May. This is the period where Russia could really expand its war. It could go on a full offensive mode and could expand its territories inside Ukraine. In July of this year, we can see cyber attacks against NATO countries. Now, that would be a major turning point where literally Russia would be attacking NATO countries on the cyber front. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, these could become the obvious targets in July, as I repeat. In September of this year, Russia could send its troops, Russia could dispatch its troops to Kaliningrad. Now, Kaliningrad is an orphan territory of Russia where it has deployed its military assets. And in September, around September, Russia could first dispatch its soldiers to Belarus, and from there, it could station them in Kaliningrad. Russia could also establish a land corridor between Belarus and Kaliningrad by seizing territories from Lithuania and Poland. This is also a major turning point in the coming year. This could also become a major turning point. Now, moving on, in December of this year, when US will be really busy with elections in the transition period, Russia could claim border conflicts in this region, and it could even expand its military presence in Kaliningrad. Then in January of next year, before the new administration takes over, Russia could falsely accuse NATO of plotting to overthrow Putin, and then in the spring of the next year, around March, April, we can see a full blown conflict between NATO and Russia breaking out. And that would be the period when Trump will be in the White House. As per the indications that we are getting from the US, Trump could really return to White House, and that is why many analysts and many experts are worried that Trump could abandon NATO as soon as he comes to power. That is why even NY Times published this report some days back. Fears of a NATO withdrawal rise as Trump seeks a return to power. So basically, USA could withdraw from NATO and that could leave EU hanging in balance. And that is why even German defense chief was worried some days back. He said that Europe should boost its military capacity so that it is not caught off guard when Trump comes to power and when NATO is not so eager enough to help Europe defend its borders. And now, coming to Europe's energy security, as I said, Europe is not that capable of defending its borders militarily, but also on the energy front, Europe is not that solid. You can see that Europe is heavily dependent on West Asia, on countries like Qatar and even US for its energy security. And we know that another war in West Asia is going on, which is Israel Gaza war, and it is now expanded to Yemen also. This has really jeopardized and threatened Europe's energy security. Qatar has halted LNG shipments to Europe, which means that Europe could face gas shortage in the coming months. And at a time when Europe's energy security is in shambles, it cannot think about tackling the security challenges coming from Russia, especially when Russia attacks NATO countries in the coming months as per the alleged plan. But there is one silver lining too. If Trump comes back to power, Europe could see its support from US crumbling, and in that scenario, Europe might be forced to have peace talks with Russia, and that could see war in Ukraine coming to an end. And that is how Trump's return to White House could seal the fate of Ukraine and could also see the rise of peace in Europe finally after 2 years of war. That is all for today. Thank you very much for staying with Outright. Subscribe for more such videos.